Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to part 11 of my DVD collection. And we start off with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the UK edition, the black edition. There's also a white edition, but I do not own that one. And this is the Steelbook from Dark Sky Films, the 2-disc Ultimate Edition. And here we have the gruesome edition of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, also known as Leatherface. Pretty good film. It also stars Viggo Mortensen. You can see him over there at the left, playing one of the Sawyer family, or a member of the Sawyer family. The remake of Texas Chainsaw, which is not that bad, and then you have the prequel to the remake, The Beginning, which is actually very brutal. Thelma and Louise, very good film by Ridley Scott, and this is a great 1950s sci-fi movies. Them about giant ants, very enjoyable. And this is another Them. This is a French thriller about a couple who are being terrorized by an unknown gang, I guess you can call them. It actually takes place in Romania, and they're being terrorized by this gang. And it's actually very creepy, very disturbing film, and the ending is very unexpected as well. There's Something About Mary. They are watching us. This is a Spanish horror movie, kind of like in the same vein of The Others and The Devil's Backbones and Darkness. As you can see there, The Orphan. It's kind of like that. It's not as good as those films, but it's very decent. I liked it. This is They Call Me Trinity, and Trinity Is Still My Name, with Terence Hill and Bud Spencer. The Thing from Another World, Howard Hawks film. Although this is directed by Christian Nyby, but there are rumors that Howard Hawks kind of directed the film over the shoulder of Christian Nyby. And of course, here's John Carpenter's version of The Thing, which is a lot better, if you ask me. I mean, I like the original, but John Carpenter just made a brilliant job with his version. 13 Days, very good film. This Gun for Hire, which is kind of like a detective film with the lovely Veronica Lake. This Is Horror, which is a series of documentary series basically about horror movies. It also has Stephen King, who, I think at the beginning of every episode he kind of talks about horror films and about his work and all, and really good documentary series, this one. The remake of the Thomas Crown Affair. There has been talks for a sequel for years. I believe at one point Paul Verhoeven was going to direct it, but then MGM got into these financial problems, and then you don't hear anything about the sequel anymore. And now I heard that John McTiernan would love to do a sequel. So hopefully, someday we might get a sequel, because this is a very entertaining film. Three Violent People, a pretty good western with Charlton Heston and Ann Baxter. They also both played in The Ten Commandments. Thriller, A Crude Picture, and this really is a crude picture, by the way. The violence is very graphic, and it also contains some very explicit sex scenes. I mean, hardcore sex scenes. It actually says it here. This film contains scenes of explicit sexual content, nudity, graphic violence, and drug addiction. I think this edition is out of print, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it says limited edition, but there's a lot of limited edition out there which aren't really limited. But I think this is limited. But I'm pretty sure this is out of print. Next is the Thunderbirds collection. I got this box set from eBay one day for very cheap. I like the Thunderbirds, and they're actually doing a new series where, just like with the original series, the miniature, the background and the vehicles and the airplanes and all miniatures stuff, except for the characters. The characters are actually CGI, and I don't know what to think of it. I think that's a really bad idea, if you ask me. Next is TSX 1138, the George Lucas director's cut, which is a great film. And this is the new version, of course, which has some newly added CGI. Same thing that George Lucas has done with the Star Wars trilogy. But I like this version better than the original one. It's been a long time since I've seen the original, and I guess the original version is only available on VHS, so I have to track that one down. But it's a great film, actually. I like it. I still have to get the Blu-ray of it. Tin Man, The Tin Star, Titan AE, which is a fun animation film. Titanic, this is the deluxe edition, 5-disc, I believe. Yeah, I think it is, 5-disc. Doesn't say here, but I'm pretty sure it is. To Catch a Thief by Alfred Hitchcock. A brilliant film, To Kill a Mockingbird. But this is a lovely release. Nice, dishy pack there. To the Galaxy and Beyond with Mark Hamill, which is a documentary about science fiction films. Tombstone, the director's cut. Great film. With Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp and Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. Very good film. And here we have the Tommy Cooper box set. I mean, I like Tommy Cooper. Topkapi, which is a very enjoyable heist movie by Jules Dassin, the director of Rafivi. There you go. Tora Tora Tora, about the attack on Pearl Harbor. Touch of Evil, the 50th anniversary edition. Great film by Orson Welles. Has 3 different versions in there: the restored version, the theatrical version, and the preview version. And also has a booklet in there with, well, it's basically here it is. Orson Welles' memo pre-production. See a pre-production of Orson Welles' legendary 58-page memo to Universal after the viewing of the studio's rough cut of the film. So this memo basically, Welles is basically explaining what the version is that he had in mind, and I think the restored version is based on his detailed 58-page memo to the studio. Great release, this one. This is a great little French film. I believe the English title is The Page Turner. Yeah, it is. It's a revenge film, just like I said. But when you think of revenge films, you think of these, very violent. bloody films, but this is nothing like that at all. The Towering Inferno, which is a classic, a disaster classic. The Toxic Avenger. The Trail of the Lonesome Pine, which is pretty good. Trailers from Hell. I got this mainly because it has Little Shop of Horrors, the original version of Little Shop of Horrors in anamorphic widescreen, and the transfer looks really, really good on this one. Trainspotting. The best Transformers movie of all time, Transformers, the movie. The Traveling Birds. This is also known as the Winged Migration. Kind of like a, kind of like a BBC Earth documentary. Treasure Island. This is the 1934 version. And here is Disney's take on Treasure Island, Treasure Planet, which I really enjoyed. The Trial, another Orson Welles film with Anthony Perkins, based on the novel by Franz Kafka. And this, I think this is really the best film that is based on a Kafka story, because it's very surreal and very it is very Kafka, and Orson Welles, he did a great job with this. Tristan and Isolde, it was alright, a good film. Tron, the first one. This is Le Trou, really good French film, a prison break film actually. Next one is True Romance. What can I say about this? This is a fantastic film with a fantastic cast, fantastic direction by Tony Scott, and a terrific script by Quentin Tarantino. Very good film. Char, which is a Russian film about Ivan the Terrible. That was recommended to me by Kyle Shagrat65, and this is actually a DVD from Thailand. But this is a great film, really, really good film. Twin Sisters, which is a Dutch World War II drama. 20th Century with John Barrymore and Carole Lombard. Carole Lombard died just way too early. She died in a plane crash with her mother, actually, and I believe 20 other people. She was married to Clark Gable at the time. I believe she was 33. At least she was in her early 30s when she got killed in a plane crash. It's very tragic ending there. This is the I believe the Japanese edition of a fantastic. I can't get it out. A fantastic Japanese film. Anyway, here it is, The Twilight Samurai. I know there's a Blu-ray version of this that was released by Twilight Time, but I'm not gonna get the Twilight Time Blu-ray. I'm getting the one from Asia, which I believe is a Japanese release. But yeah, anyway, I am going to get this on Blu-ray. This is a fantastic film, Twilight Samurai. Two Evil Eyes, the collaboration between George Romero and Dario Argento. My number is here, by the way, 108 out of 30,000. U.S. Marshals, the sequel to The Fugitive. Uli's Gold, which is really a very good little film with a brilliant performance by Peter Fonda. I think this is his best performance in his career, actually. It's just very slow paced, but very relaxed film. I really loved it. I think it's an excellent little film. Una Giornata Particolare, which is a fantastic film as well. I think this would be an ideal title for Criterion to release. I would not be surprised if Criterion would get the rights and release it on Blu-ray. It's beautiful, beautiful film. Wonderful performances by Sophie Loren and Marcello Mastroianni. Unbreakable. Underworld, this is the 3-disc unrated extended cut. It also has a comic book inside. On the Capricorn by Alfred Hitchcock. This is the only film that Hitchcock has made with Jack Cardiff, the cinematographer there who worked on the Powell and Pressburger films. But I wish they did more films together. Cause Cardiff is just a phenomenal cinematographer, and Hitchcock was of course a phenomenal filmmaker, and them together would make a great film. Even though On the Capricorn isn't really the best of both Cardiff and Hitchcock, but this needs to get a remastered version very, very quickly. With the transfer, I mean, it is watchable, but it's not in the best of quality, So hopefully we will be getting a much better version of it. The Unforgiven, which is an overlooked western with Burt Lancaster and Audrey Hepburn. I know there is a Blu-ray release in the United States, which I'm definitely going to get. Great western. United 93, which is a very impressive film about the third plane that was hijacked on 9/11. The Unknown. Now this is a Swedish film, very low budget, and it's about 5 scientists who are going into the forest, and there has been a big fire in that forest, and they're gonna do some investigation, and they come across the body of a very strange creature, which turns out to be an extraterrestrial, and somehow the spirit of this alien kind of takes possession on their bodies, and they're acting very strange and all. So this is really a good little film, The Unknown. I really liked it. I mean, people kind of compare this with the Blair Witch, but the only difference is that this movie was released a year before the Blair Witch. But very good film, this one. Der Untergang, or Downfall, which is about the last days of Adolf Hitler. Very good film. This is the extended edition, as you can see there. Used Cars, which I really enjoyed. Utu, I got this from Kyle. Never heard of this film, before I got this, and obviously never seen it, but I really like this. This is a good film from New Zealand. Next one is V, the complete collection. I grew up with V, with the miniseries. It starts as a miniseries, and then there was a television series that came out. I haven't seen this for a long time, so I still need to revisit it. But yeah, I've always liked V. It was one of my favorite TV series growing up. The Valerio Zulini box set, early masterpieces. I got it mainly because of Girl with a Suitcase with Claudia Cardinal. I think she is the most beautiful woman ever captured on film, in my opinion, anyway. But this, and she looks absolutely beautiful in this film. Even though the film is in black and white, um, she looks absolutely astonishing. And this film also contains Violent Summer, which is also a very good film as well. But this is out of print now. It was released by No Shame Films, which does not exist anymore. But this is a fantastic release. The Valley of Gwangi, Harryhausen movie, great stuff. Love Harryhausen. Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust, which is a sequel to Vampire Hunter D, which I do not own. I still have not seen it, but I really like this. I really like the style of this anime. Vampires, John Carpenter film, which I really enjoyed. Kind of like a western. But I like James Woods and his crew. This is going to be a little spoiler, so cover your ears. But it's actually a shame that his team died very early in the film. I wish they had more screen time because I really like seeing them in action. Carl Theodor Dreyer's Vampire, a classic film, a classic silent film. This is the I'm pretty sure this is out of print. Snap the Case, which also has a short film called The Mascot, which is called the Toy Story of the 1930s. And here is the Masters of Cinema Series edition of Vampire, with the audio commentary by Guillermo del Toro. I also have the Criterion version, of course, which is this very thick edition with a great booklet in there as well. Vampires, which I liked it. It's a very enjoyable film, actually. This is Van God Los, season 1 and 2. That was the movie, and after that they did a television series. Now each episode is different story and all that, but they're all based. Each of them is based on true events, just like the movie. But as you can see, this is still Shield, and so is the season 2. So I still haven't seen it one. Still need to open it. Still need to check it out. This is the Korean edition of Van Helsing. Yeah, I know this movie gets a lot of hatred, which is understandable because it's definitely not the best of movie ever made. But I just like this edition. It's a very nice edition. Vanishing Point. I still need to get this on blue. Great film from the 1970s. Great car chase film. Vanilla Sky. This is the steelbook of Versus. Nice edition, this one. Vicky. Here we have Video Nasties, the definitive guide. Great stuff. Great documentary series about the Video Nasties of the 1980s. And this is the part 2 of Video Nasties. Vidogue, which is it's an enjoyable French film with Gérard Depardieu, directed by Pitof, and Pitof was a visual effects wizard, and this is the first film that he has directed, And after this, he made Catwoman, which is a film that he should not have directed. Terrible film, that one. Vigilante Western collection. This contains Keoma. I already own several editions of this. Oh, wait a minute. I already own several editions of Keoma. Very good film. Four of the Apocalypse by Lucio Fulci. And God Said to Cain, which stars Klaus Kinski. This is a great one. The Fighting Fist of Shanghai Joe. I really enjoyed this one. And White Comanche with William Shatner and Joseph Cotton, which is pretty bad actually. But I got it mainly because of Shanghai Joe and this one. These two I already have, by the way, in much better editions, much better transfers. But this was actually very cheap. Next one is The Vikings. This is a great film. Absolutely great film with Kirk Douglas, Tony Curtis, Ernest Borgnine, who plays Douglas's father, even though in reality their age is a couple of years different. But yeah, it's a great film. Villa Rides, which is about Pancho Villa, with Joe Brunner as Pancho Villa. Also stars Robert Mitchum and Charles Bronson. Pretty good film. Written by Sam Peckinpah, and he was also supposed to direct this film as well, but I think not really sure. I think he was he could not get along with Jules Brunner, or Jules Brunner didn't want him to direct it. I wasn't really sure. It has something to do with Jules Brunner. I think he wasn't happy with him as a director. The Village, hated by many, but I have to say I liked it. I did. I really liked it. Violent City, which is a great film by Sergio Solima. Great film with Charles Bronson. Virus, So Bad Is Good. I liked it. I still need to see this one though. The Visitor. This is the uncut European edition. I heard this is one incredibly crazy film. I believe this has a Blu-ray release, or this is getting a Blu-ray release. Viva Maria with Brigitte Bardot and Jean Moreau. This is fun. Von Ryan's Express, Frank Sinatra, very good World War II film. For Queen and Country, or for Queen and Fatherland, that's how you say it in English. This is actually the extended version of Soldier of Orange, with Rutger Hauer there. And Jeroen Krabbe, you might know him from The Living Daylights and The Fugitive. Great stuff, this one. Directed by Paul Verhoeven. And speaking of Paul Verhoeven, this is the early films of Paul Verhoeven. Wagon Master, John Ford Western. One of the few that he did not do with John Wayne. This actually stars Ben Johnson, and well, basically these are all his regular actors. Ben Johnson, Harry Carey Jr., Ward Bond. He worked with those actors on many other westerns as well. Well, not only westerns, but other films. Walk the Line, which is a pretty good film about Johnny Cash. This is a nice release. This is the complete series of Wanted, Dead or Alive with Steve McQueen. And finally, we have the spin-off to the television series with Rutger Hauer playing the grandson of McQueen's character. It also stars Gene Simmons, as you can see there. There's a great photo of them. I like that. And that was it. for this video. I will be back with part 12, and that's going to be the last one in this series. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.